It's finally happening. The moment critics said would come someday, but Meghan Markle swore never would. Behind the glossy smiles, the curated Instagram aesthetics, the carefully staged appearances, everything is cracking, and this time there's nowhere left to hide. Sources close to Archwell are whispering what was once unthinkable. Staff are being quietly shown the door. Layoffs, redundancies, panic behind closed doors. The foundation that was supposed to cement Meghan and Harry as global power players is bleeding, and the money simply isn't there anymore. This isn't speculation. This isn't gossip pulled out of thin air. This is the financial reckoning that's been circling their Montecito mansion for years, finally knocking at the gate. The news didn't explode with headlines. It slipped out quietly, almost deliberately buried under holiday distractions. But insiders say the truth is brutal. Archewell, the grand philanthropic dream Meghan sold to the world, is cutting staff because the donations aren't flowing. The vision is collapsing faster than anyone expected. People who once believed they were part of something revolutionary are now packing their desks, realizing the empire they believed in may never have existed in the first place. And here's the part that stings. Meghan never believed she'd end up here. When she walked away from royal life in 2020, she reportedly thought the offers would never stop. Hollywood would embrace her. Silicon Valley would fund her ideas. Brands would line up begging for her name. That was the fantasy sold behind palace walls, the promise whispered into Harry's ear when she convinced him to abandon everything he'd ever known. But fantasy doesn't pay mortgages. Reality does. Just a few years ago, they were signing deals worth tens of millions. Netflix, Spotify, publishing contracts, speaking engagements. The future looked limitless. Now Spotify has walked away, publicly branding them grifters without even needing to say the word. Netflix has quietly restructured what insiders mock as a fake deal, keeping them technically attached while slashing compensation to a fraction of the original hype. And Archewell, the supposed legacy, can't even afford to keep staff employed. The layoffs aren't just financial decisions, they're symbols. When a charity claims to exist to help others but can't pay the people running it, something has fundamentally broken. Sources say Meghan has been calling emergency meetings, demanding answers, looking for someone to blame. But the truth is staring back at her every morning. This is the unraveling critics warned about, the advice ignored, the warnings dismissed. And now, with bills piling up and staff disappearing, Meghan is facing a truth she never wanted to accept. The golden ticket she thought she married into had an expiration date, and that date may already be behind her. The pattern is impossible to deny. Every major deal they touched has either collapsed or quietly shrunk into something far less impressive. Spotify walked away. Netflix cut back. Donations dried up. Archewell is hemorrhaging people. Industry veterans have been watching with disbelief. One executive put it bluntly, fame doesn't matter if you don't deliver hits. And Harry and Meghan haven't delivered a single one. Hollywood doesn't care about titles. It doesn't care about magazine covers. It cares about results. And Meghan entered believing her name alone would guarantee success. She thought the world owed her something. But Hollywood eats people far more talented and connected than a former cable show actress every single day. And here's where it gets darker. Sources claim Archewell was paying eye-watering salaries, 6 figures, for positions that produced nothing measurable. No viral campaigns, no meaningful impact, no returns. Money poured out while results never arrived. Meghan kept signing the checks anyway, believing expensive people would magically create success. That magic never came. Instead, Archewell reportedly became bloated. Meetings without outcomes, strategies without execution, a vanity operation dressed up as a global mission. And when Meghan tried launching American Riviera Orchard, the cracks became impossible to hide. She struggled to find a CEO. Not because of lack of interest, but because the salary didn't match the expectations for a serious brand. Here's the contradiction that makes insiders furious. Meghan wouldn't pay competitive rates for leadership that could generate revenue, but she was allegedly burning money on staff producing nothing tangible. The math doesn't add up. Either the money management was catastrophic or the priorities were completely backwards. Probably both. Successful charities run lean. They maximize every dollar toward impact. Archewell reportedly operated like a vanity press release machine, issuing statements from the office of the Duke and Duchess as if running a multinational corporation when insiders say it was essentially a room in their house. Now those bloated salaries have become liabilities, and that's where things take an almost unbelievable turn. With paid staff gone, sources say Meghan and Harry are allegedly exploring recruiting volunteers to keep Archewell alive. Volunteers, free labor. from a couple who demanded financial independence, signed massive deals, bought a $15 million mansion, fly private, and require expensive security. The irony is almost painful, but it gets worse. Their obsession with privacy makes a volunteer operation nearly impossible. These are people who demand NDAs, who accuse everyone of leaking, who fear betrayal at every corner. How do you vet volunteers? How do you keep secrets when you're relying on unpaid labor? Insiders predict disaster. Someone will see how things really work and talk. And when that happens, Meghan will cry betrayal, conveniently ignoring that she created this situation by refusing to pay professionals. This isn't a pivot, it's a white flag. And the isolation is becoming impossible to hide. For years, Meghan believed Hollywood would welcome her with open arms, that her royal connection would grant instant access. Instead, the doors slammed shut. No Hampton summers, no yacht photos, no billionaire circles. Despite living in California for years, she and Harry remain outsiders. The Clooneys have gone cold. The Obamas never embraced them. The Beckhams quietly stepped away. The reason is simple: discretion matters. And Harry and Meghan have proven they can't be trusted. Memoirs, interviews, documentaries, private moments turned into content. No powerful circle wants that liability. Hollywood's verdict is silent rejection. Which brings us to the Kardashians. Yes, that's where this has landed. Sources say Meghan is now cozying up to Kris Jenner and the Kardashian clan, attending parties, networking furiously, even discussing potential collaborations. For someone who once claimed moral superiority and devotion to privacy, the desperation couldn't be louder. Reports suggest Meghan worked Kris Jenner's birthday party like a political campaign, handing out contact details, praising the family, chasing relevance. Radar Online even claims there's talk of Harry and Meghan appearing on the Kardashians. Let that sink in. A former senior royal, the Queen's grandson, on reality television famous for family drama and spectacle. There's even talk of Harry being involved with Skims, underwear, modeling. Royal watchers can barely process it. The tragedy is that it likely won't work. The Kardashians succeed because they own exactly who they are. Meghan has spent years pretending. Audiences see through it. No partnership can fix that. Marketing experts are brutal. Meghan crossed a threshold few recover from. She self-sabotages every moment, preaches authenticity while calculating every move, preaches family while erasing her own father. The contradictions exhausted the public. Even her branding screams insecurity. With love, Meghan. American Riviera Orchard. Names dripping in forced affection, as if repeating love will make people feel it. Lifestyle brands demand expertise. Meghan offers a title and a lifestyle no one can relate to. Her wine launch reportedly sold around 10,000 bottles. Impressive until you realize that's barely 3,000 customers. In that industry, that's nothing. Then came the media war that exposed something darker. After GB News apologized for false claims about Doria Ragland, Meghan's team could have ended it gracefully. Instead, they released a statement asserting Doria proudly raised Meghan, effectively erasing Thomas Markle's role. People who knew the family pushed back. Thomas raised Meghan, paid for her education, supported her career. The photos prove it. And rewriting that while he's elderly and unwell shocked even critics. Meghan keeps winning battles while losing the war. Every victory reminds the public why they distrust her. And then there's Harry, once beloved, now isolated, estranged from his father, cut off from his brother, his California dream collapsing around him. He's changed his residence to the U.S., severing ties symbolically and emotionally. His foundation is shrinking. His lawsuits drag on. Reconciliation feels impossible. Harry's identity has become victimhood. Nothing is ever his fault, and that makes repair impossible. Sources say he looks withdrawn now, realizing too late what he sacrificed. His children growing up without cousins, heritage, or connection. The isolation Meghan wanted has become Harry's prison. The pressures would crack any marriage. Money stress, different priorities, Meghan craving exposure, Harry resenting it. And the only path to serious income now may involve exposing their children, something Harry swore he'd never do. The Kardashian model demands it. Something has to give. Sell the house, drop the security, expose the kids, crawl back to the royal family. None of it is pretty. And the saddest part, it was all preventable. They had goodwill, opportunity, global platforms. All they had to do was deliver quality work and treat people decently. Instead, bridges burned, blame spread, and now the empire is crumbling while they insist they're victims. The unraveling isn't coming, it's already here. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud, but everyone is thinking. When an empire starts collapsing this fast, desperation doesn't whisper, it screams. Every move Meghan makes now feels reactive, not strategic. One pivot contradicts the last. One rebrand undermines the previous promise. It's chaos disguised as confidence, and insiders can feel it. People close to the situation say the stress inside that Montecito mansion is suffocating. Not the glamorous kind of pressure Meghan once thrived on, but the slow, grinding fear of numbers not adding up. Security bills that don't stop. Property taxes that don't care about bad press. Staff costs, legal fees, PR retainers, all stacking higher while the revenue streams shrink. This is when fantasies die. This is when reality stops being optional. What's especially jarring is how quickly admiration turned into indifference. Not outrage, not obsession, just silence. That's the real danger zone for public figures. When people stop caring enough to defend or attack, relevance begins to evaporate. Meghan once dominated headlines. Now stories about her land with a thud met with eye rolls instead of outrage. That shift is fatal in celebrity culture. Sources say Meghan still believes one big win could change everything. One viral moment, one redemption arc, one powerful ally stepping in to save the narrative. But Hollywood doesn't rescue people anymore. It replaces them. There's always someone younger, hungrier, less complicated waiting in the wings. And Meghan's baggage has become too heavy for most brands to carry. Even Harry, once her greatest asset, now feels like a liability in certain rooms. His memoir burned bridges that can't be rebuilt. His lawsuits keep him tethered to grievances instead of growth. And the more Meghan pushes for exposure, the more trapped he reportedly feels. Two people pulling in opposite directions while pretending they're aligned. Those whispers about tension aren't new, but they're louder now. Money changes everything, especially when one person believes fame is the solution and the other sees it as the problem. That gap doesn't close easily. It widens. And when it widens under financial pressure, something eventually snaps. What's haunting is how close they were to a different ending. Had they chosen patience over resentment, consistency over spectacle, substance over statements, the story could have been entirely different. Instead, they chased instant empires and burned slow-building foundations. And now, the cost is coming due. The world Meghan wanted to conquer didn't reject her out of cruelty. It simply moved on. And moving on is the one thing she never planned for. Because when the applause fades, the cameras turn elsewhere, and the deals stop coming, there's nothing left to negotiate with but truth. And that truth is brutal. Titles don't guarantee talent. Victimhood doesn't generate loyalty. An image without substance eventually collapses under its own weight. So now the question isn't whether Meghan Markle can reinvent herself again. It's whether the audience will follow her one more time or if they finally closed the book. Because this chapter isn't just messy, it's final feeling. And no amount of branding, networking, or manufactured moments can undo what's already been exposed. The silence after the noise is the loudest sound of all. Loudest sound of all. Loudest sound of all. Loudest sound.